friends to a podcast that's been described as
emotional
and
terrifying.
One guy even said it was
So awesome it will shock you to the core.
finally another podcast about
Godzilla!
and all his giant monster friends.
This could be the end of civilization.
Yeah, probably. So join your hosts, Cass and Slick.
Ladies and gentlemen,
You're listening to the podcast from Odo Island. Welcome to the podcast from Odo Island. Follow us on Twitter at Odo Island Pod. I am here, and with me as always is the winner of the Watermelon Black Cherry Bowl. Slick, how you doing?
But it hasn't happened yet.
It's come on.
That's Thanksgiving night, right?
Yep.
Yeah. For context, that is we have bet White Claws on the Minnesota Vikings doing the Patriots game.
And for more context, we made this bet before the season started.
Yeah. Yeah.
So one of these teams is good, one of them not so good, both in the playoffs.
At the moment.
So we got a fun episode this week. I don't think we've ever done a full episode where we fantasy booked a movie before, but
No,
that's what
we've
we're going
not.
to do for this episode. I'm looking forward to it. Change of pace, something fresh,
Yep.
staying with Godzilla. But first, any news you want to tell me about? Anything big happen?
Oh, well. Funny you should ask, because just out of nowhere last night, to the point where I had to triple check to make sure this was not some other stupid Elon Musk bot Twitter account that was announcing this. But there was just a random Gamera anime series is coming to Netflix next year, titled Gamera Rebirth.
How long do you think they've had this working?
It sounds like for a while, because I'm gonna forget one of the guys. I'm gonna forget both individuals' names, but one guy involved with the Gamer series wanted to launch a new project, approached another guy, and he's like, well, funny you should ask, because we've kind of had something going on here. And it sounds like this. I mean, they've already got figures in production.
Yeah.
In merchandise and stuff. And I was like, okay, so this has been a nice kept secret here for a while.
Right.
So very interesting. I movies are cool, but I also see the appeal in having a season long ability to flesh out a story, flesh out characters, stuff like that.
I think Gamera holds itself to a series a little bit better than Godzilla. Because Godzilla, you'd just expect Monster of the Week fights, whereas Gamera, you can sort of do an overarching story with kids as the main characters who interact with Gamera.
Let's hope we don't have kids as the main characters.
Well, hopefully it's more modernized, so it's not little kids who go to the movies. It's more geared to teenage age, our age when we saw Godzilla 98.
Yeah,
It's more geared to that crowd.
I wonder if it's going to be I doubt it's probably not going to be a continuation of any series, but
No.
a lot of people are kind of pointing out, it's it kind of seems kind of using the classic 90s design, or some other people pointed out that it's kind of similar to the promotional Gamera trailer that was made several years ago, that the head shape looks very similar to that. But I'm sure the Gauss are going to be involved.
Sure.
But I guess that is you could tell a whole season long story arc, I guess, between Gamera and the Gauss. But I guess we'll have to see how this goes.
So one thing I noticed about this announcement was that it's pretty respectful of Godzilla Day, while still sort of striking while the iron's hot a little bit.
I was actually thinking that too.
I was they waited 2 weeks later to get this out there, so it's still fresh in people's minds, but it gave enough time so where it didn't take away from anything there. So I thought that was handled pretty perfectly.
Yeah,
considering like you said, there's toys and everything, so they've had this in the work for years, probably.
Yeah, I was trying to think not too deeply. Maybe I'll kind of be doing some thinking off the top of my head now. But it's so next year again we'll have Japanese Godzilla movie, the Monsterverse Godzilla TV series, maybe the Kong anime, but There's going to be the Ultraman anime. I'm going to guess the Ultraman TV series is going to continue, and now we're going to get Gamera anime series. So I was trying to think, how many other years has there been a time where you get a new release from all those properties within the same year?
So something the kids
outside of the 60s.
Something the kids have been saying that I 100% agree with is we're eating well.
Yes. This is literally probably the best. We have been living in I'll say since the start of Pacific Rim to now, it's like we have truly been living like in a kaiju renaissance.
This is all because of Guillermo del Toro.
I guess so, yeah.
All his doing. So thank you, Guillermo.
But like outside like the 60s ago, like, okay, you didn't have all 4 franchises probably going at the exact same time, at least like in an ongoing basis. You get like the one shot Kong movies here or there. You got the Gamera trilogy. I guess Gamera the Brave probably came out at a time where there was active Godzilla stuff and Ultraman stuff going on, but no Kong stuff. We don't count Peter Jackson's.
I was gonna say it's on the Peacock right now.
But yeah, just like what a wild time. And again, these are ongoing. These seem like they're going to be like ongoing series for each of these franchises, as opposed to like just like the one-off movie. So we're in a wild time.
Yeah, I'm all for it. Gamera just seems to be sort of like the forgotten property of all this too. Seems like it's been the longest time since anything Gamera related has happened. So
which is weird.
It's weird, but I also think it's a little like they could do something different with this now, where it could be fresh and a new idea, and it could appeal to a different crowd that like all the other things are appealing to.
Yeah,
I hope it's like Pacific Rim the Black.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was wondering too, if it was going to be more akin to that. But I guess we'll see as we go. I feel like with the title like Gamera Rebirth, it is going to like, it is probably going to like explore that concept of like, okay, there's like an original Gamera that dies, maybe fighting the Gauss and stuff like that, and maybe like the new Gamera is born, like Gamera the Brave did something like that. That was really good.
Maybe he died fighting Godzilla in Godzilla X Mechagodzilla.
Oh, with Kamibas on the beach.
Sure, that's his name.
So we will. Yep, that was a weird cameo for that character. Hey, random one-off creature that was in Yog, Monster from Space. Let's bring you back out of nowhere.
See, jog or yogging might be a soft che. Yeah, I'm definitely like the design, like the poster for this thing looked cool.
Yep.
The black and the green, it reminds me a lot of the Godzilla 98.
I was actually going to say it gave me Godzilla 98 vibes.
It does.
All it needed was like the Statue of Liberty, like at the front, and it would look just like one of those posters from Godzilla 98.
But like, that's not a bad thing in my opinion. I'm looking forward to this. I hope it's good.
Yeah. I just I hope it paves the way for more. I mean, but yeah, you're right. Like waiting for like a week after Godzilla Day to drop that announcement, I was like, fantastic.
Enough time has passed where, like I said, it's sort of like the sweet spot right now where it doesn't take anything away from anything Godzilla related that was announced, but it's still fresh enough in people's minds where they're like, yeah, that was cool. Like I want more.
Yeah.
You know? So good job.
Also, I do hate that I had to temper my excitement for a moment, because when I first saw the tweet, it said Netflix Japan with a blue check mark, and I was like, am I going to click on this and it's going to be like a blue checkmark account with like 10 followers? And then I clicked, I was like, oh no, it's like the real account. I was like, awesome.
I hate that you have to do the extra step with Twitter.
Yeah.
I hate that a rich idiot who didn't understand it fucked it up.
Yep, he sure did. Just, which sucks is I think like Twitter is probably like, I hate to call like any social media platform like an important platform, but I would say like Twitter probably served much more of like a social awareness purpose than like other social media platforms do. And I feel like now like that's being like, tarnished.
I feel like this
undermined.
It's very similar to WWE in 2020 where they just start firing everybody and like the product suffers and everything just kind of sucks, but enough people are still globbed onto it to where it keeps going. And then like when the CEO is finally gone, like and the people who know how to run the business and are like hip to what's going on with the business take over and they fix everything like pretty much immediately.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like that's what's going to happen with Twitter.
Elon Musk has no son-in-law to take over because no one will love him long enough. So,
if you have one friend, you have more friends than Elon Musk.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's as far as we should probably go with that.
That's fine.
He's probably listening.
We're all gonna get fired from Twitter.
He's got some bot like searching for audio whenever his name is mentioned, so he can respond to it.
Very fragile.
Yeah,
very fragile. But anyway, we're fantasy booking Godzilla and Kong.
I was gonna say, is there any other news? Anything noteworthy happen that we should talk about? Maybe it's not like positive news. Maybe it's sad news.
Oh, the director from Godzilla versus Biollante passed away. I think he was the director.
Yeah,
or director or the writer. Yeah, he passed away. That's too bad.
Yeah.
There's a lot more of that going on from those classic Godzilla movies every year.
Yeah, and it's sad that we're at that point, but
yeah,
you know, Godzilla vs. Biollante is one of the better Heisei movies. Either, in my opinion, probably the second best, or because I really like the Destroyer movie. I think that's better structured, but
yeah, I think Biollante is my favorite. Actually, Biollante is probably one of my more top tiered Godzilla movies overall. I always, even as like a kid, I thought that movie was like really cool. I thought like Godzilla was always super badass in that movie. And
when we were teenagers, you used to drive us around and make us listen to the soundtrack.
Yeah, but I mean that song was incredible.
Nobody complained.
It's the fucking guy from Dragon Warrior, Dragon Quest. Sorry,
not the greatest of people, by the way.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Well,
the composer.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
okay. I don't think I want to know.
We'll leave it at that.
Okay.
But yeah, we are fantasy booking Godzilla and Kong.
Yes.
We put up a poll. We were going to do, what was it, Gappa?
I just always put Gap on.
Yeah.
That was a good joke.
We were going to do that or this. So
people seem to like the topics.
Yeah.
People seem to like the discussion topics. Godzilla Day did very well, performed very well as an episode.
We're men of the people. We're people's champs.
But I like the idea of doing topics or debates or whatever. So
you voted. You can't unvote it. So we're going to fantasy book this movie. So I don't know how you approached it, but I was telling you before.
Not to the degree that you, or not in the manner that, I shouldn't say not to the degree, but I mean, you basically, wrote a draft screenplay here.
So the way I approached it was, I don't know how you like for the topically, but for me, it was, I was trying to think of what you would do and steer away from it. So I went kind of vanilla and did like sort of like a logical continuation of the Monsterverse.
Yeah.
That was sort of my mentality. I kept it 3-act structure, 90-minute runtime. This is a movie I was like, if this is going to be me booking a movie, this is a movie I want to see. So.
What? Okay, so I more was just thinking of more broad ideas.
Mm-hmm.
So I think maybe we'll start with my broad scenarios and then we will work through your scripted adventure.
Okay.
Because I did not actually the one thing that I just kept thinking about is how as a vibe. Because all right, so my thought is the Monsterverse tried to be serious with Godzilla 2014 and Kong Skull Island, and then after that they just kind of threw seriousness out the fucking. The second the guy said, "Oh my god," they threw fucking seriousness out the fucking window. And also with that movie, also having the Skeeter, he's either coming for food fight or I was out the window.
And the guy who annoys him.
Yeah, it was like Scott or something like that. But whatever it was. But and then with GVK, it was again, just totally any semblance of seriousness is out the window. I do not think the Monsterverse should ever try to go back to seriousness. I think they should embrace what they have done with, doesn't have to be over the top zany, but they should continue to embrace what they were doing with King of the Monsters and GVK. Especially when stuff like Shin Godzilla came out, the anime trilogy or Singular Point, and the next Godzilla movie from Japan looks like it's going to be probably very dark and grim and serious, taking place in a post-war Japan. I'm like Japan's going to give us the serious stuff. And I want the Monsterverse just to continue into its fun popcorn I shouldn't even say popcorn.
You
'cause I
always
feel like
call
that
this
diminishes a
the
little bit.
Godzilla hero arc of the Showa era.
Yeah, it's kind of like that's what this is, and I feel like it should kind of lean. I feel like it should keep leaning into that now.
Okay.
So I was trying to think of different scenarios, and I kind of feel like it's unavoidable. I feel like whatever happens is that, you know, you got Kong living the Hollow Earth, you got Godzilla upstairs, the surface world, and I feel like it's unavoidable. The concept is one of them is going to face like some sort of immeasurable threat, and they got to go to the other for help. But I also want it to be like very much like a remake of like Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. Like part of me wants them to just be like starting off kind of as like buddies, like Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. And when they're in some sort of scenario, the scenes keeps playing in my head of like where like they're like pinned down on some rocks by some whatever the threat is, be it aliens, be it some overwhelming other monster or something like that. And Godzilla basically motions that like, you know, we got to jump into the water to get away. And Kong's like, no. You know where I'm going with this. And then basically it's just replaying that Butch Cassidy Sundance Kid scene. He goes like, I never learned how to swim. Because I was thinking about it, I was like, I don't think we ever like really saw proof in GVK that Kong knew how to swim. Like, you know, he kind of paddles up to get back into the boat, you know, but like that doesn't mean he knows how to swim. And on Skull Island, all the water was like up to his like knees, basically.
I will say this though, they go down pretty deep in that fight.
Yeah, they do, but I mean, yeah, he's just fucking paddle his way back up. So I want that scene recreated with Godzilla and Kong, where Kong's just like, I never learned how to swim. The Godzilla just starts like, he does the smile from GVK in the Tokyo fight and laughs.
I incorporate that into my
good
thing.
So
there's a lot of fan service in my thing.
Yeah. So then kind of going from there, it's like, okay, it's either, yeah, part of me is like, should they just lean into aliens? Or like maybe you don't lean into aliens, but maybe like you could somehow, like I was trying to think, like, is there any sort of like really viable way that makes sense where like, you know, Space Godzilla could somehow get created in this scenario? And I couldn't really think of anything because like, at least like, because no one's like really gone to space in any of these movies.
Yeah.
So unless you like kind of tacked on some sort of like flashback prologue scene or something like that. But I was thinking, well, you dropped the oxygen destroyer in King of the Monsters. It was kind of a throwaway thing that they did in that movie. Why don't we have that? Like, I don't know, make it destroyer. You know, like everyone keeps saying like destroyer should be these movies. I feel like there's not really like a lot of like reasons that make sense for it. But I mean, at this point, like, who cares? Let's just go with it.
Yeah.
Make him like.
These are action adventure movies. That doesn't have to always make perfect logical sense.
Yeah, I mean, yes.
You can have a new jumping off point.
Yes. So then I go, but the Hollow Earth probably does lend itself more to like some sort of like underground, you know, aliens, or I guess not aliens, but underground like civilization or something like that.
I steered
like,
clear of this for this reason.
But it's like, I mean, it just seems like if you do the Hollow Earth, this is like the stuff you're opening yourself up to, right?
Yeah.
Like they should like literally just bring back the fucking Seatopian Empire from Godzilla versus Megalon. But all these scenarios kind of go to like, you know, bringing in more Toho monsters. But I would be good with like, you know, they brought back like the Mudos or juiced up the Mudos. Like, I like the Mudos. I like the
Now you're
Skullcrawlers.
drifting into my territory.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I think the Mudos should be like more prevalent in the Monsterverse. Like, I know they're in the comics, but those comics sucked and they seem like just like cash grabs. But,
Never read them, but okay.
Yeah, I have one of the Godzilla ones, and I have read online the other one, and I was like, yeah, these are just like cash grab comics. That's what these are. But yeah, I think ultimately what I would like to see is I more want a like buddy movie. But I am in the camp that wants just like the straight up buddy movie between Godzilla and Kong. You know, if one of them's gonna go to help with the other, have that sort of dynamic. You know, I guess I'd be like okay with that, but I almost kind of more want it to be established that they've just become like buddies in between GVK.
Yeah.
And now, you know, again, I want them to be Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid is what I want. But and I think that's what pretty much all the Godzilla movies should be from here on out. The Monsterverse movies should be here on out are them being like when they cross over, they are pals. You know,
I think they need to just remain natural allies. They're too embroidered together now to split them up as a tandem. But you could have some fun with it for sure, but like I think for the most part, I think Godzilla and Kong need to stay aligned.
There's more money in them being together.
Yes,
You know.
they're Scott Hall and Kevin Nash.
Exactly. There's more money in Batman and Superman working together than fighting with each other.
Yes,
You know, that's why like you always have like your one-off Batman versus Superman fight, but for the most part, they're always together in the Justice League.
and like people complain that it's like too predictable when things go that way. It's kind of like, yeah, but predictable isn't always bad.
I agree. Like, especially again with these, like I feel like these are like the Monsterverse has become like the comfort food series.
Yeah,
And so, like, yes, sometimes I want that predictability
Mhm.
to play out, like in
'Cause your
those comfort
fandom's
food
rewarded.
movies. Yeah, it's again like these aren't movies with like huge statements to make, or like they're just supposed to be fun movies,
Mhm.
and I am okay with like sometimes with going the predictable path, in like comfort food movies, because yeah, I mean it gives you what you're looking for.
okay.
Because you kind of like you walk, because if you don't get it, you walk away going, well, I wish they did the predictable thing, you know, like if like yeah, but then it's also like thinking too would be like good too if like maybe like the humans have like made like a Mogira or something like that could they should make like a mecha skull crawler or something like that. Have like a holiday.
You're almost there. You're
They
almost
make
there.
they make like a mecha skull crawler to like help explore the Hollow Earth underground, you know. But I thought I had another thought
You're
there
getting
too.
real close.
In my notes, I put, of course, we're gonna have the return of Doug, probably.
Oh, yep. I've got a Doug appearance too.
Yeah, I mean,
You're gonna love mine.
I'm actually shocked they have not made any Doug merchandise.
Merchandise.
Yes.
Where's our cut?
Yeah, I know, but I guess this is Playmates and not like I feel like if like the toy line was being handled by Hasbro, there would have been Doug merchandise.
Oh, for sure. If it was Hasbro or Bandai or
Yeah.
or
Yeah, well, actually, Bandai could do it, and they haven't done it. But I don't think the Doug phenomenon is like as big in Japan as it is here.
Does Bandai have the ability? Oh yeah, they do.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Yeah.
I was
but
gonna say from Monsterverse stuff, but they do.
yeah, the Monsterverse has done okay in Japan. It just has not done.
Yeah,
It's not has done as well comparatively as it's done in other territories. But so I just don't think I don't think Bandai feels like the demand is there for.
Understood.
Probably, but
SH Monster X Plus Doug.
yeah, that would come out pretty good. But like, yeah, if it was like Hasbro, I mean, like I know you haven't really watched The Mandalorian, but it's like they got like a Mandalorian variant for like every.
It's coming soon.
They have like a Mandalorian variant figure for like every little fucking thing from that series, including accessories. So it's like including somewhere like I go and like I was like I don't really even remember that from the show, and I go, oh yeah, okay.
I have my Sasha Banks Mandalorian figigure over there.
Oh yes, yeah. Like if it was Hasbro,
I have the merchandise from the show that I haven't watched.
It's a crossover collectible. But yeah, if it was Hasbro, we would have had like 5 Doug figures by now. They all would have had like different paint jobs, and you know, each one would be a little bit more expensive than last in true Hasbro fashion.
But yeah, you were talking about the mecha skullcrawler. What other monster ideas do you have for this?
I was like they could like repurpose like Mechagodzilla, but like make it like part of Monarch. But I was like, I wouldn't really be too thrilled. I would like them to get away from Mechagodzilla and King Ghidorah for like a little bit. Like I think, I mean, it was nice to bring Mechagodzilla back, but I don't feel like Mechagodzilla is overplayed. But I feel like every Godzilla thing has to end with King Ghidorah. It seems like, and it's just I was pumped that Singular Point did not introduce King Ghidorah at some point. I'm sure if there's a second season, I'm sure King Ghidorah will start to work his way in. But it's just like it's nice to have a little bit of restraint where it's like we can get a little bit away from King Ghidorah, like all like Godzilla the Ride, the Godzilla X Evangelion fight, like all those.
Mm-hmm.
King Ghidorah is the final boss. You know, the anime trilogy. King Ghidorah is the final boss. King of the bosses. We got King Ghidorah, which is cool, but like we need a little breather. So
I understand.
I would like them to get away from and not bring back any Mechagodzilla King Ghidorah concepts. I think they also got to bring back to complete my Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid remake. Mothra's got to be like the love interest, but like for Kong, not Godzilla. And because you had that dynamic in Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid.
You get a money train thing going on.
Godzilla's like the Sundance Kid in my scenario. He's not Butch. So,
for reference, Money Train was a movie with Woody Harrelson, Jennifer Lopez, and Wesley Snipes.
I do not recall that movie in the slightest.
So, there you go.
Must have been one of their art house flicks.
I love that movie. It's so bad it's good. But yeah, I'm with you with the not retiring Ghidorah, but
give him a break. Give him a little breather.
Put him on the bench for a couple minutes.
Put him back on ice.
Yeah.
Put him back on ice.
You're up 10. You can give him a rest.
Yes, I agree with that.
Is that the sum of your parts for
That's
this?
some of my parts, yes.
Okay.
Yes. I did not have a clearly defined antagonist, but it was my general concepts of either something's going to emerge from the Hollow Earth, overwhelm Kong, which gets Godzilla to come help, or vice versa. Something overwhelms Godzilla, gotta go get Kong. They should be buddies. They should not be like, weird adversarial allies or adversarial frenemies at this point. I think they should just be buddies. And I want them to just be pals.
Okay.
And I want it to end happily with them being totally triumphant and returning back to their respective areas to do it all again in like another 2 to 3 years.
All right. Cool.
Yeah, you're about to be a lot more detailed than than I was.
I have 4 pages of notes written for this, broken up into 3 acts. I have characters in mind, introducing new characters. I went pretty in depth with this. So, Act 1.
I will do this the next time we do this. So
Right.
now that I didn't realize we were going to go this route.
You set the table at every episode. It's about time that I start pulling my weight around here a little bit. So Act 1, we're going to start with the human story. Ren Serizawa is alive, and he is in charge of Apex now.
How is he alive? Oh, I guess you don't actually know if he really died.
Yeah. So, to cover what really happened, he's blaming...
What really happens?
He's blaming eco-terrorists for the Mechagodzilla attack and says that Mechagodzilla was always supposed to be a secret project they were working on for the benefit of humankind, not to attack it. And eco-terrorists broke into they're blaming it, like they're calling Bernie and Maddie eco-terrorists who caused all this problems.
Good.
So they're blaming
That no good
eco-terrorists
podcaster.
for the takeover, and the eco-terrorists tried to make Mechagodzilla kill Godzilla when Mechagodzilla was always supposed to be like his tag partner.
Mm-hmm.
And so they promised they're not going to build any more robot monsters. And so Ren Serizawa is trying to make Apex the good company, but he's all disfigured now too because of the attack.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so he's sinister.
Can I ask really quick? Is Bernie being talked about in the media as the podcast terrorist?
Bernie
Podcasterist terrorist?
We'll get to Bernie. So he's coming up because here's his arc. He hot tags. He hot tags out.
Okay.
So here's Bernie. Bernie is speaking with a reporter to get the correct story out because he's already done podcasts about what happened, but he's a crackpot, so nobody believes him except for this reporter who I've left them like completely blank, gender neutral, like could be either or.
In my head, I'll assume it's Audrey from Godzilla 98.
Perfect. There you go. So Bernie is telling the reporter about what happened with Apex. Apex hires bounty hunters who then kill Bernie. But now that the reporter knows, they're after the reporter too. So that's sort of like the basis of the main story right there is the bounty hunters chasing after this reporter.
Okay.
Who knows Ford from 2014.
Okay.
Who is a higher up in Monarch now.
Okay.
Because of his connection with the first movie.
Sure, yeah.
So Ford finds out about the reporter and Bernie's murder and that Apex is actually still up to no good and behind it all. So he's trying to save the reporter. That's his arc. So this is Act 1. So that's where the humans part ends. So next we have Godzilla. There's an increase in monster attacks and nobody really seems to know why. but monsters are coming back. So we got the Mudos fighting Godzilla. We have skull crawlers emerging from
Wherever the fuck.
the China base where they didn't, or the Apex China base where they, like one of them escaped.
Oh, they
and
brought
got
the
out.
eggs. Yeah. And all
So-
that. Yeah.
So Godzilla fights a skull crawler. So we haven't had that fight yet.
Nope.
So-
Fresh matchup.
Fresh matchup. But so he's fighting them. He's fighting like Mudos. He's fighting. And there's like variations of these, so they don't look exactly the same, but they're the same like species basically. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So we can use our imagination there. But we cut to Kong, who's just living the good life. Like he's down in Hollow Earth, like nothing's wrong. So we cut back to Godzilla, and he's still fighting like all these monsters by himself. And so like one of them's in Hong Kong, and there's a big statue of Godzilla and Kong, like holding Mechagodzilla's head after the big fight. And so after Godzilla defeats the Skullcrawler by himself, he knocks over the Kong side of the mural, and then you get like the Godzilla smile. so that's so at the end of Act 1, Kong is fighting off monsters who are attacking the humans. And
Godzilla is.
No, in Hollow Earth.
Oh, okay.
So Kong is trying to protect the humans who are there, like studying him, but it's becoming difficult where he's like, people start dying, basically. Like,
Mhm.
the monsters are starting to get in, and it's an environment not suitable for humans. So this is where I was going to introduce a civilization that had learned to live in this area where they could teach the humans, but instead I went another way, and the humans are just like, we can't stay here anymore. We have to go back. So they're trying to escape Hollow Earth for good. Act 2, Charles Dance is back. He sells Serizawa DNA from kaiju that he has stolen. So like usually like Monarch gets there and nobody else can get in, but he's like stealing kaiju DNA, selling it to Serizawa. And Serizawa then unveils that he has a hybrid clone cyborg mecha that he's working on.
Okay.
So it's not quite a monster. It's kind of Pacific Rim, the Blackish,
Okay.
where I'm calling it Mecha Zero.
Okay.
Pretty lame name, but I'm not going to describe it. I want to talk about like what this monster could possibly be.
Okay.
So what do you think?
Geigen.
So I purposely didn't say Gigan because he's more of like a clone of like they took a bunch of different kaiju DNA and like threw it into a pot.
Yeah,
So I
got the Mudo, the Geigen claws from the Mudos. He got his back fins from the Warbat.
okay.
I don't know how you get there with the head, but
So-
you know where I'm at so far.
So I was thinking more or less like the what's his name? Why can't I think of his name now? The Marvel character, fucking what was the terrible Wolverine movie?
Oh, the one with Omega Red.
The bad one, like the one where
Oh, with Deadpool, with Ryan Reynolds
It's
played
Deadpool, yes.
yeah,
So I was thinking the shitty Deadpool from that movie.
yeah,
Where he just got like all the superpowers from all the monsters.
yeah.
But he's more like not human, but like 2-leg shaped. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So that's what I was thinking there. So I wasn't thinking Gigan. I was just thinking sort of like use your imagination. What does he look like? Type of vibe. So that's what I was going for. So for me, it's more of like almost like sort of like one of the mechas from Pacific Rim, but with like organic parts. So like organic arms with like shield on them and like almost like Doom Guy with like the chest protector thing. And then you can see his,
I was gonna say, oh, you mean
his
like
abs.
you mean like the Evas from Evangelion?
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
But like a head, which like a monster's head with like, mech like upgrades to it. To like help him see, help him like sense things. So basically, like I'm trying to build like the perfect monster.
Okay.
And so you see that gets it. So here. Okay, so now we're back down to Hollow Earth, and Kong is no longer able to save the people. Like the Warbats, all the other monsters, they're pretty much having their way, like getting into the compound pretty easily. So Kong can't defend them anymore. So all the people are evacuating, and Kong is trying to evacuate too and go back up to the surface. He's fighting like 10 warbats, and he can't do it alone. So he's getting back up to the surface with all the people, and he finally gets up, but warbats come up with him. And so as soon as he's free and clear, the Apex unleashes the Mecha Zero monster, and it helps Kong. So the monster is like killing all the warbats very easily because it has like upgrades and lasers and all that fun stuff.
Yeah.
So Kong, he's like trying to show that like he's an ally to Kong, and Apex is showing like, oh no, like this is what it was like. Mecha Godzilla was supposed to be, was a friend to the kaijus and help them, so they don't have to like kill themselves doing this.
Sure. Yeah.
So now where am I? Oh, on the way up, a warbat eats Doug. Fuck you.
Oh. Just the gratuitous murdering of Doug.
So I've killed Bernie and I've killed Doug. And so that's where we are with.
But you haven't killed Maddie yet.
She's not in the movie.
Okay.
She has to do Stranger Things.
She died off screen.
She's just not in the movie. I'm doing Ford. I'm bringing Ford back.
Okay.
He's my Maddie. So Godzilla is distracted by other monsters while all this is going on, so he can't help right now. So that's why Mecha Zero is helping Kong. And so Ford confronts Serizawa now at this point, and he's taken hostage by them because he's onto their plan. He can't have Monarch know, so he takes them hostage. And the bounty hunters have captured the reporter, so the reporter and Ford are now with Apex, so they're trying to escape.
I pictured the bounty hunter assassin character being Antoine Chigurh from The Country from Old Men, by the way.
I was thinking of Diamonds Are Forever, Mr. Kid, and the other guy. That's where I was going.
Yeah. But I just pictured Antoine Chigurh capturing Audrey and going, "You have to flip a coin. It's the best I can do. You don't have to do this. It's the best I can do. It's Gojira, you moron."
But anyway, so Kong and Mecha Zero go to Hollow Earth together, and Mecha Zero is killing like the warbats and taking them out. And then like as soon as they're done, he swerved him, bro. Mecha Zero turns on Kong and starts beating the shit out of him.
Kong says, "This is where you plan to do it."
Yeah.
Mecha Zero goes, "Good as place as any."
So he turns on Kong and they fight, and Mecha Zero is gonna win, but then Godzilla Ex Machina shows up and they fight, and it's sort of like a 2-on-1 type of thing because Mecha Zero is supposed to be better than both of them.
Sure, yep.
But the way Kong saved Godzilla in the last movie is the way Godzilla saves Kong in this movie, and then Godzilla does the kiss of death, and then Kong takes the head and does the warbat drinking of the blood for some fan service there. And then where we get to at the end is since Ford and the reporter escape, they expose Apex, and they expose what happened in Middle Earth or Hollow Earth, where Monster or Mecha X turned on them, or Mecha Zero. And so Serizawa goes crazy and says that he has Ghidorah's blood in him, that Ghidorah's power flows in him, and he starts calling himself Ghidorah, and he's being taken away. So that's the end of Apex. Serizawa has gone crazy, and he is basically like the Joker in this movie.
Good.
I was kind of thinking Ford is like a little bit of a Batman, but he's the hero. And so that's the end of the movie, is them dragging Serizawa away to get him the help he needs.
Mm-hmm. Is there a post-credit scene?
There is a post-credit scene. So Charles Dance is back. His terrorists are holding Monarch scientists hostage, and one of the hostages is one of the twins. You see a web hit Charles Dance and smash him against the wall, and then you hear the Mothra scream, and that's the end of the movie.
Or what if...
I'm getting kind of dry out there.
What if it was not the Mothra screech, but it was the Batra screech that you heard at the end?
Use your imagination. I the reason I did the post credit with the twin is to introduce Mothra as a standalone movie.
Oh, I see. I gotcha.
We're just going full Marvel at this point.
I mean, that's the Monsterverse is like really the only other like, and I think a lot of people agree. Like, it's not just me as a Godzilla fan saying this, but like I've heard this in a lot of different non-Godzilla like pop culture YouTube channels, podcasts, stuff like that. That like the Monsterverse is kind of regarded as like the only other really cohesive and like successful shared universe outside of the Marvel universe. Like, I mean, like I guess like Star Wars doesn't really get counted as like a shared universe, but it's like
It kind of should though.
yeah, it should.
At this
but
point.
it's something about like it's just Star Wars. Yeah, I don't know. Star Wars is just so different.
Yeah.
It's its own beast. But like the DC expanded universe or shared universe is like a clusterfuck. Like, granted, those movies make money and stuff like that. Like, but it's like they can't get like their narrative shit together. Whereas like the Monsterverse has always kind of stayed very tight and cohesive.
Well, I think the thing with DC right now is that they are trying to organize it going forward.
Yeah.
From here on
Yeah.
out. So, but yeah, Marvel has their shit together. The Monsterverse seems to have its shit together for the most part.
Yeah, I don't think there's really been any missteps with the Monsterverse, really. I know like some people will debate about like whether they like a certain movie or not or whatever, but for the most part it's like they like it seems like they haven't taken unnecessary steps and they haven't like really taken any wrong misfire steps. You know what I mean? Like there's no like I mean, you know, there's no like Justice League or Batman v Superman fiascos going on with the Monsterverse. You know what I mean? Like it's,
if anything, people seem to be like generally more excited for it. I would say it's probably like, 7-3. People will enjoy it to people who are going to jump on
I mean, you know, all the movies have made good money and stuff like that. And, yeah. But while you were going through that, maybe think of like two other like small like story details. It was like one inspired by Alien vs. Predator Requiem. I was like, what if there was like somehow like a hybrid Skullcrawler Muto, like how there was like the Pred Alien, that awful movie. And then I was also thinking, I was like, there needs to be like a movie where it's like Godzilla and Kong, like, you know, they just need more numbers to take on whatever threat they're facing. And at some point, Godzilla says, you know, you got to turn to your friends. You got to turn to the clique.
You got to turn
He
to
gives-
your blood.
He does a little point, and Anguirus comes out of somewhere. You know, we saw the Anguirus
He's
bones.
wearing a red bandana and he's got a beard.
Yeah, look who's back. Well, we saw the Anguirus bones in King of the Monsters. So you know,
It's true. There's
that's-
and yeah, justice for Anguirus at this point.
yeah. Well, that was probably like an unlicensed, not paid for cameo. So
Yeah,
they probably hated it when the internet started drawing attention to that.
Toho is most likely rolling in the money they were getting from Ghidorah, Rodan, and Mothra, though, on top of Godzilla.
Well, it's like wild to me that like with Toho, it's like, and like everybody like talks about this. Like they talked about this like in the beginning of like the beginnings of the Monsterverse and stuff. They were just like, you know, Toho just doesn't like charge you one licensing fee for like, you know, Godzilla and his Rogues Gallery. It's like you got to license all of them individually.
That's what I mean, yeah.
And they charge like crazy amounts of money.
Was it just $20 million just for Godzilla?
I mean, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's like Ghidorah has like his own giant price tag.
Yeah.
Mothra, that's wild. I mean, I get it on their end. They're just like, well, fuck it, whatever. Like we're just making this money.
Right.
You know.
So for my logic, way of thinking, they probably got anywhere between $70 and $100 million just to license the characters.
Oh, probably not. I don't think it would be that high, but
No?
because I don't think it would like they would if someone's gonna say like we have to take $100 million just to license these characters, they wouldn't even bother making the movie.
You don't think?
I don't think so. Because like the movie probably profited like, you know, 250 million. If like the budgets are like, I think all the budgets are around like 300 million. Like the rule of thumb is always like marketing is almost the same as production costs. Like then tacking another $100 million on top of that seems like that'd be.
Well, maybe it was structured in a way where they paid less up front, but there's more in the back end.
Yeah, maybe. Like it's just it just seems like wild to me that like. But again, I guess if they go whatever, if your movie fucking fails, we still made money.
Yeah.
So what do we care? You know.
Fuck you, pay me. You had a good week? Fuck you, pay me. You had a bad week? Fuck you, pay me.
Plus, we're gonna make all this money off all the merchandise we're gonna sell anyway. You know, like think back to like when we were talking about like Godzilla versus Space Godzilla, when it's how like the movie could make $10 million in Japan, which is all right for Japan, but it's like the merchandise would be like 10 times that. It's like it was like that's what Toho probably really cares about. I would love to know how much money they made off of Godzilla Day, off merchandise sales.
Oh, I'm sure a pretty penny.
Oh, I bet. And like, and they were smart, like saying like, hey, you can use Bai as like the proxy server, like integrated right with the store rather than like go through the annoying process of like going to the proxy server's website and like searching for items through the proxy server website. Like just going, no, we're going to just have the proxy buyer integrated right into the store. It's going to be super easy. Like I was like, yeah, you all know what you were doing. Y'all know what you're doing. Having those Gigan Rex and Godzilla figures like ready to go at that time. They knew what's up.
Yeah. So the opposite of the Taylor Swift Ticketmaster fiasco.
Yeah, I'm only like kind of loosely familiar what happened with that, other than just like millions of people got like pre-sale tickets or tried to get into to be verified.
So many people tried to get tickets that it crashed Ticketmaster. So for about an hour, people who are waiting in line in the queue, they just weren't in line anymore.
It'd be great if we could buy tickets from multiple sources other than just fucking Ticketmaster.
No, just Ticketmaster. That's it.
It'd be great if we could break away from that.
Yeah, that's what we call a monopoly, and I believe we have anti-monopoly laws. It requires Congress to break it up, though. So
yeah, well, they'll get to it, I guess.
No, not this one.
I bet a lot of those reps and senators' kids probably wanted to go to that Taylor Swift concert, and if they didn't get those tickets, that's maybe going to spark some outrage. But
until those Ticketmaster until that Ticketmaster pack money comes in.
But also, the average age of people in Congress is like 105, so like their kids are probably like 70, so they probably weren't buying the Taylor Swift tickets.
Probably not. Funny Taylor Swift story. So my niece's birthday was the other week, and I gave her a gift card, and I signed it Taylor Swift and Uncle Chris, and she was like, I don't believe you, but she said it in a way where like maybe there was a chance. And so I really drove it home. I'm like, yeah. She was like, why does the writing look this way? I was like, because she wrote it. She goes, but she wrote my name and your name too. I was like, yeah, she signed it for me. She takes care of me. And so she was like, prove it. So she makes me write something down, and I wrote something in all like straight lines. So like a C was just like 2 straight lines, and she was like, you don't write like that. And I'm just like, that's my handwriting.
Taylor Swift ghost writes everything.
But like she's like 8, so she's at that age where it's like she knows I'm BSing her, but like she doesn't know now.
Yeah. Actually, I bet if we looked at like that notebook you were just reading from for your Godzilla and Kong outline, that Taylor Swift probably wrote that for you.
Same handwriting and everything.
Yeah. She's like, nah, I'll take the ideas down. Don't worry. I got this. It'll be a new. She's gonna do the soundtrack for that album, so she needed to be involved in the writing process.
She does the Mothra song. She is the.
Honestly, I'd be all about that. I'd be so fucking on board for that.
She's the twins going forward.
I would have zero problem with that. I would embrace that wholeheartedly. I would embrace Taylor Swift doing the Mothra song.
Yep.
It'd be so good.
Yep.
That'd be so good.
So that's where we are with this right now.
It's like how Prince did the soundtrack to the first Michael Keaton Batman movie. Taylor Swift does the soundtrack to Godzilla and Kong.
We didn't do the sound. I mean, Danny Elfman did the soundtrack. He did one song.
Well, he did a few songs.
Oh, he was a few? Okay.
Yeah, he did a few. He even put out a whole album just of the songs he did for the Batman movie. But yes, Danny Elfman did the iconic theme and all that. But yeah, Prince had a few there, and he put out an album.
They should have collaborated. Can you imagine how that would have sounded? A Danny Elfman song to bang to.
Well, Taylor Swift for Godzilla and Kong. That's our money. That's our money idea from here on out.
Biggs, you got him?
I did. I got some. I got one that we both got.
Yeah,
So I guess
you got it from me, so thanks.
Well, you paid me for it. I didn't really get it for you.
Well, you did.
I facilitated the deal. I guess we'll end with that because I got some things in the mail, as I like to say. Oh boy, do I have things in the mail! But the one unique purchase that I got this week was I got the Mothra Mezco set, and oh boy, is that fucking sweet!
Yep.
So this, I think, was like the real sleeper hit of the Mezco line. I feel like, everyone was pumped with the Godzilla vs. Ghidorah set, the Shirel Monster set, obviously, stuff like that. And I feel like, the Mothra set, I feel like there was some buzz around it, but I remember going I was like, oh, that's really awesome. I want that. But I don't recall getting the intense feedback that like the other sets got.
I'm more inclined to get the Mothra set than the Ghidorah set.
I would say those are the top two Mezco sets that have been put out. But I'll say that so the Mothra one came, and actually when it came, I opened it up and I was like, oh, that's weird. It's like it's not coming in some large box they gotta open. Like it's coming just in a little cube type thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then but then I remember going, oh, right, I thought this was just gonna be a cardboard display inside that was gonna be the box that they carry the Shobijin around in Godzilla versus Mothra. But the box that it ships in has a protective layer over it, and then it's it is the box is the thing that folds out that holds Mothra and the Shobijin. I was like, this is great because it's a harder cardboard. Cardboard makes it sound like it's still it's flimsy, but it's very well supported, very strong piece of cardboard type box type situation going on. So it opens up.
Yeah.
You get the Shobijin. They come with different heads that look similar to the default heads.
Okay.
And then they come with two sets of arms. One is either in the kind of the praying, singing type pose, and the other is where they can kind of hold hands. And then Mothra comes with a stand, so you can stand Mothra alone. But the stand also if you take it off the the square stand that most figures come on, it has a little clip in the back that can clip to the top of the box, so it's you could have Mothra on the lid of the box while the Shobijin are standing within the box while it's open. It's a really cool display feature. But the Mothra figure is fucking outstanding.
I know.
Super fucking detailed. And again, it's fuzzy. I love that it's fucking fuzzy.
Mm-hmm.
It's there's so many parts of the body that have a fuzz on it. And I go this is awesome. I only have one other Mothra figure that has a fuzzy coating, and it's this little tiny gumball gashapon finger puppet type thing. And it's this being a fuzzy, super detailed figure is without a doubt is the best Mothra figure that I own, and I own a lot of Mothra figures. But I was this is the best Mothra figure I own, and it's so good, so good. I still think I feel this is tied with the Ghidorah set of being the best Mezco sets to this point. Shirel Monsters would have won if it didn't have the paint issues, the QC issues, but it's such a unique packaging, such a unique display.
Just the box and the Shobijin.
Yeah.
With it. That. I remember when that got announced being I really want this, and I never had the guts to pull the trigger.
It's a unique setup, and it's it's just a really cool design, cool approach to kind of displaying the Shobijin and Mothra. And again, I will just never stop hyping about how Mothra being fuzzy is the best thing ever.
Yes.
It's just
the only other Mothra fuzzy figure I've ever seen, and it wasn't even in person, I just saw it in a video, was an X Plus of the Showa Mothra.
Oh, I didn't know X Plus made some fuzzy ones.
Yeah, there was maybe it was SH Monster, I don't remember, but it was one of the higher end Mothra. It was a humongous fuzzy Mothra.
Sounds more like an X Plus thing.
Yeah.
If it's humongous, that would be an X Plus thing. The SH Monster stuff is in line with the other Bandai figures.
Yeah.
So But yeah, so my Mezco shelf is now complete. The Ultraman set, Australian Monster set, the Heater set, the Mothra set, and it's been announced, but no pre-orders yet of the Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla 74 set. So that's it's going to be next on the horizon, but
Yep.
no pre-orders for that yet.
It's too
Can't
bad.
wait for that.
It seems like they are sticking with Showa.
Part of me wonders if it's because they're trying to reuse as much as they can with the Godzilla body mold. Granted, now they're going to go from the 68-ish era to the 70s era, but yeah, I mean, yeah, they've also stuck with the show era for Ultraman too. So yeah, maybe they're just kind of capped. I mean, whatever. It's very toyetic, them 70s.
So I'll probably get the Mothra set soon.
Should. It's an excellent set.
Yeah, I like it too much to miss out on that. Like, I feel like I could miss out on Hedera and live, whereas like the Mothra one, I feel like I'd always be kicking myself.
Yeah,
There's
Yeah.
FOMO there.
I getcha. Also, I'm glad, not only are they sticking with the show era, they're sticking very much with a 60s, 70s
Yeah,
era. It's other companies are doing lots of Godzilla 54s. I mean, how many Godzilla 89 to 91 figures do we need right now? We're getting a lot of those from various companies, and they're kind of hitting an area that I think is underrepresented when it comes to higher quality, detailed figures. I think they're scratching an itch that's
they're scratching an itch and they're keeping it reasonably priced. Take a shot. When a lot of other collectibles dealers are not.
Yeah, I mean, the Hedera set is $70 and you get 3 super detailed articulated figures with accessories.
A ton of accessories.
Yeah. The Mothra set I think is a little bit cheaper, but still you get 3 figures in a display box. The Ultraman set I think is the cheapest by far. And even and again, you get a playset set up and 2 detailed articulated figures. It's Mezco's got a good thing going.
Yeah. They're kind of smaller than what other figures are doing, but I think the detail is just as good, as solid as it was with NECA. Less articulation, obviously.
Right.
Obviously, my Anguirus is not as shoddy as yours.
Right.
There's still imperfections. Don't get me wrong, but for the most part, my Anguirus came in a lot better shape than yours. So I just don't have the sort of the feeling of it being ruined as much.
Yeah, it wasn't with your set overall. Seemed to come a lot better. I mean, one of my Godzilla heads, I think I said is basically unusable because there's a weird plastic melted bubble thing right in the middle of his jaw.
Mm-hmm.
My Rodan has a bunch of paint flubs on it.
Yeah, I don't think mine does.
It's it's just every figure maybe outside the Mothra Lava had in King Ghidorah had a weird paint discrepancy on it. It just really, that was just really disappointing. But in terms of size though, yeah, they're smaller, but as one who is constantly trying to find more shelf space,
yeah, that's a good thing.
I'm appreciating these details. I'm appreciating the smaller size.
Yeah, especially considering we collect other things that are easier to fit a ton of them together because
because wrestlers don't have tails.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There's no tails, and that's what kills us is the tails. I mean, the singular point third form thing. I mean, that tail is just so long.
Yeah, I will say one thing Playmates does do is they curve the tails. They tend to curve the tails up a little bit, which helps.
Yeah,
it gets hard when the tails just go flat on the ground.
Ultima's tail, I think, just goes straight out.
Yeah, the Bandai one. Yeah. But the Bandai version of Godzilla Terrestris, the tail just goes straight out, whereas the Playmates one curves upwards. Now, granted, it's still a very fucking long tail in the Playmates one, but at least it does curve up at some point.
So it's always the struggle is to find shelf space. They're a good size. I keep mine on my desk, and it keeps me happy.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. But then we both got something together.
We sure did. We got this old Varan movie monsters. It's not a Bandai, it's a Bandai.
Yeah, the Bandai limited movie monster series, Godzilla Day, Godzilla Store exclusive for Ren.
And I gotta say, it must have been like the photography being too good, like the lighting being too good, because like this figure is not orange. It's more of a dulled brown. It looks good in my opinion.
Yes, I agree.
coloring.
Actually, quick little backstory to this to kind of refresh people. There was a poll contest earlier this year as to like who was going to get like a Godzilla Day special figure, and it was one of those like kind of like Twitter hashtag poll type things. I tried to leverage our Twitter account as much as I could to vote for Varan after I was thwarted with the Godzilla Battle Line poll. But we were part of the Varan movement, and it came down to like him and Kiryu. And like as it started to get closer, no, Kiryu to go the figure. It's actually not very impressive, so I didn't buy it at all. But like it came down to like Varan. I would think like there was like a final 4, final 3, and it was like Varan was against like some heavy hitters, and I was like, oh god, like this is probably like where Varan taps out. But nope, that son bitch won. He won. And here we are now.
He is the Dolph Ziggler of his 2014 Survivor
He really,
Series team.
actually, he really fucking was.
So yeah, like overall, this figure is actually like pretty well detailed. Like the shell tail areas, like everything looks different. There's no like repetition in like the scales or anything like that. So like it doesn't look like it was like stamped and like set it forget it. It looks like some effort went into like carving this out and like making it, because there's no repetition from one bulb bump to the next.
Right.
That's really good.
Even like the underbelly is like really detailed and stuff like that. Like under the tail is like detailed.
Yeah, so like you get like some bumps, like there's a little stamp in there, so it's like kind of flattened out.
Yeah.
But whatever, like the rest looks really solid. His feet are like the only thing that's kind of like bad because they're like,
kind of molded into the legs.
Yeah, so that's the only thing where I'm just kind of like, eh. But the rest of it, like the coloring's the big surprise to me. Like, the way the internet set this thing up, it looked like one of those Nutter Butter things.
So I will say this: there is 2 color photos in existence of the original Varan suit when they were filming the movie. This looks pretty accurate to how those photos looked. It probably could have done with a little bit more paint. The only thing that's really painted is like
if it like faded, it got a little darker, instead of like being just the same color all the way around.
Yeah, just even like maybe like a little splash of highlights would have.
Yeah.
I mean, like, okay, the other Bandai movie monster series figures that come out like that always kind of like lack paint. I kind of go whatever. They're hyper detailed. These are like what is like in Japan, like they're like $9-10 figures. This is a Godzilla Store exclusive, like, and this was like what is like double the price of like those other figures. I feel like a little bit more paint should come with it.
Yeah.
However, it is like
I've seen people like custom and show it next. I've seen posts of updating this.
Yeah, it is actually a lot bigger though than the other Bandai movie monster series figures. I will say that like I put him on where he is in my shelf is with some other recent Bandai movie monster series figures, and he's like larger than like a lot of them. So that's cool. So you got that.
Okay.
But yeah, it is funny that like we got like the singular point like Godzilla Varan style figure, and then like a year later we get this. So very, very good times for Varan fans.
So I don't know if this is how the suit looks or not, but like the paint on the spikes definitely fades out, and the tail is all one color.
No, that's just Bandai. Just,
okay.
Not
Thank
feeling
you.
it.
Wanted to clarify that with
Bandai does not like to paint tails.
I get you, and so like the paint's the paint and the feet are the only thing that's kind of a bummer. Like the head looks awesome. A lot of detail with the mouth going on. The front hands look good. Detail on the top and the bottom. Overall, like pleasantly surprised. This looks a lot better than the internet pictures did justice for.
Yeah. There's also, Varan is an extremely underrepresented character in terms of figures. I don't think there has ever. Well, I think there's like, Bandai may have made some sort of like Gashapon figures, but like in like their main lines, like they don't have any Bandai figures, and it's like all the other Varan figures that are out there for the most part, like large scale figures, are like from companies that make like premium figures, like they're very expensive, or they're like limited releases from 20 some odd years. From like 20 years ago, and they cost a lot of money. I know because I bought them all and they cost a lot of money. Like, so it's nice to have a super detailed, screen accurate figure that was like essentially like $18.
Yeah, no problem paying for this thing because, like I said, I'm pleasantly surprised. We have a song called Varan that
Well, that's what we did.
Yeah,
We sure did.
Good that I was able to hop in on this.
Yep.
Get some representation going on. He's going to be an amp.
An amp figure.
Fig, yeah.
Yeah.
So I think I like my amp fig thing going on. It's the singular point figures and the
The transforming
figures.
Playmates figures.
And that's kind of like where I got the idea for Mecha Zero is not so much like Gigan or King Ghidorah or anything like that. Like kind of with the name with Final Wars, but it was more with like the Godzilla and Kong like mecha upgrade things. Like it was more on with that, and then just like sort of like a hodgepodge of like kaiju DNA.
Gotcha. I see. Oh,
so you can make it look like whatever you want to make it look like. Sort of like same thing with the reporter. It's a man, it's a woman. Who cares?
It's Audrey from Godzilla '98.
It's Audrey. Like, that's a funny take.
I forgot in terms of purchases. This was LOL funny to me. In that package from the Godzilla store with our two Varan figures, I got a Godzilla Battle Line postcard, which I didn't buy. It just came, and it's it's the artwork with like Destroya, Shin Godzilla, and Giant Octopus, and I got that, and I was like, oh, sweet, because I also on Godzilla Day, but using a different like later in the day, I bought separate Godzilla Battle Line merchandise to get that artwork. Which like I got like a $7 acrylic framed photo of the Godzilla artwork, but like I did it through like Zen Market, so like even doing like the cheaper shipping, it was still like $15 to ship it. I was like, oh, I just got a postcard of the artwork that I just like now like unnecessarily spent like $20 on.
This is me when I pay $40 for a NECA Godzilla figure that I find 2 months later at Target.
Yeah, I was like, whatever, fine. But either way, like I also pre-ordered a lot of other Bandai Movie Monster Series figures. It looks like the Gigan Rex and the Godzilla Junior figure will be ready. They'll be for sale. They're going to be shipping, or not shipping. They're going to become available right after Thanksgiving, and then the Godzilla '84 Bandai Movie Monster Series that I also pre-ordered is going to be shipping or available about 2 weeks after that.
Okay.
I'm debating if I ship them together or ship them separately. It's probably going to cost about the same in the end, so I guess it doesn't really matter.
Is there a chance I could hop on that Gigan Rex bandwagon?
I can look to see if they're still available.
Yeah. Let me know.
Yeah.
I'm good for it.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I'm just trying to think of like, I more meant like if they're like
if they are still available, not
yeah.
so much like that's what I meant.
Yeah,
like
I've
heard that they might have been.
Yeah, they were like
solo.
a limited run. So
yeah,
but yeah.
If not, I understand. I was slow on that bandwagon. I admit it. There's just too many other stuff. There's too many other big things going on.
Yes. But then I also have, I will say as a teaser, I have stuff in the mail coming from Crunchyroll, of all places. I have stuff coming from Super 7 as well.
Nice.
In the mail.
Nice.
So.
I've been keeping an eye out for you, but I have not found the 56 poster figure in stores.
It'll pop up.
Yeah.
It'll pop up.
I am seeing Jet Jaguar and Mothra a lot, though.
That's the start.
Yeah.
That's the start. Oh, so they released pictures of like what the second wave is going to look like. Oh, I can't wait. Can't wait. I forgot that Heater is part of it too. I was like, I love this line. I'm ready for it.
Yeah, they're like I like the Super 7 figures. I just think they're overpriced. That's the big.
They got
drawback.
me.
Yeah,
They got me.
I just miss the feeling of going into a Target and them having like several Godzilla NECA figures for me to buy for like $20 a piece.
Yeah,
Those were the good old days.
those were the good old days. We didn't know how good we had.
I kind of knew, and that's why I kept buying them.
Yeah. Just
I just didn't expect that well to run so dry.
it sure did.
'Cause
It
now
sure
I go to
did.
Target. I'm looking for elites. I'm looking for any NECA figures I might want, and it's just it's always a very sad ending for me. I'm like, oh, guess I'll just go buy some gauze.
I think that's a good place to leave him.
Me too.
We'll probably do another poll for another topic.
Yes,
I like topics.
poll will be good.
Yeah.
Because in 2 episodes we can't do a poll.
No, it's gonna be Kong Christmas.
Mhm.
I've been mulling that one over in my head.
Me too.
I keep bouncing back between whatever. I'll just say it either Son of Kong or King Kong Lives. I keep bouncing back between the two.
Like I know which one I like more, but I kind of want to watch the one I don't. I kind of like Kong Christmas being like a day of like shit. You know?
Yeah, well, we'll also have to expand it to like all like the shitty Kong knockoff movies like Konga and stuff like that that's out there. Like, I mean, there's a bunch of those. So,
The Mighty Joe Young 90s remake.
oh god, yeah. Also, the original Major Young is so fucking good.
I know, that's why I'm saying the 90s
Yeah, that remake. Ugh, that was yeah. God, I forgot for a long time that there was a Mighty Joe Young remake at some point.
Yeah.
And then like it was like a clip went by because I think I saw that in theaters too. Because like I remember like I watched when I was a kid, I watched the original Mighty Joe Young and I was like, oh, this is like really fucking good. Like low key, like really, really good.
Mhm.
Stop motion in that is like fucking fantastic too.
The story's good too.
Yeah. God, I want to rewatch that movie now.
Yeah. That's a good one. But the remake is not so good. I remember watching that on
Doesn't somebody like really random star in the remake?
it's geez, who I forget who's even in it. I haven't watched it in over 20 years. I remember I've watched it once when I was released in home video.
God. It also came out in 1998.
Yeah, I probably watched it in 1998 or 1999.
Oh yeah, Bill Paxton.
Game over, man. Game over.
And Charlize Theron. Bill Paxton was what I was thinking of because that's so random.
Cool. Well, we'll throw the poll up. You can vote. We'll put Gappa on there, and then we'll think of some other topics for you.
One day Gappa will win.
One day, Gappa will win. Until then, we're not doing it until you vote for it. So,
Yep, I'll just keep putting it there.
anything you would like to leave the listeners with?
No, not a damn thing.
Steadfast and vigilant.